Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Appreciate you all being here, and I'm going to talk about Quant today. So it's been about a week since I've done a video on Quant, and there's been a lot going on with Japan. A lot. Now, there was two large announcements somewhat recently involving Quant through Japan. One was a Dentsu Soken partnership. I did a video on this one about a week and a half ago. I'm going to reiterate a few things there. In conjunction with, there's a new Japanese patent that came out on Quant, and we put these things together, and it looks like they're getting prepared for a lot more than just CBDCs. I know, like, I talk all the time about CBDCs is the largest thing I'm excited for with Quant, and I started thinking a little bit on this and reading, seeing what Japan's trying to do. And I think there's a lot more going on than just interoperability and CBDCs. And I want to put some of this together for you guys, see what I'm thinking. As always, please put your thoughts down below. I love talking with you guys. If you have something worth adding, please certainly do. I love when you guys do that. So in this video, I want to talk a little bit about, reiterate what Dentsu Soken partnership was, tie it in with this new patent, and just see who gets more excited about Quant. I don't know. So as always, nothing here is financial advice. I just want to give you guys my information that I have. Let's talk about it. So again, in a short period, we had Japan both, one, secure a new patent for multi-DLT technology. We'll get in more details. And they announced a strategic partnership with Dentsu Soken, which is not a crypto company. It is a financial systems integrator. They tell banks what to do, or recommend. They recommend banks what to do. Huge effing deal, guys. So again, on their own, both of these announcements are pretty big. Together, I think it says a lot more. So first, let's talk a little bit about this Japanese patent, shall we? So what exactly is this? Right? So Quant secured a Japanese patent that covered technology that allows it to helps with instructions to be executed across multiple distributed ledgers. It states changes to be verified and reconciled back to one or more ledgers, and keeps consistent outcomes across chains with different rules, speeds, and finality models. Let's simplify what the hell that actually means. And really, the patent helps project the logic layer in Quant that allows tokenized assets or money to exist across multiple systems without breaking settlement integrity. They patented interoperability through Quant. That's what they did. Now, you don't patent something if you don't think you're going to use it, right? I mean, there's maybe an experimental thing at most when you already have the expectations of using it. Otherwise, what the heck would the point of this be? So we'll tie this in a couple of moments, but the fact that they protect the logic layer, awesome. And to show a little bit more of why this is so freaking important is that banks don't operate on one ledger, obviously, right? They have their own legacy tech, and even before blockchain technology, they didn't operate just on one type of currency, right? There'd be wire transfers from the euro to US dollar to yen back and forth, and now they're going to have to do that on a digitized state. This will get more complicated, all for good reasons, momentarily. But banks need to be able to, read the core banking systems, all the RTGS systems, internal ledgers, external DLTs, and sometimes even multiple blockchains all at once. And the reason why this matters so much for Japan is Japan's a huge freaking financial power. In case you weren't sure. I mean, I know the country's these safe and big compared to everything else, but they're the fourth largest economy, right? They're right behind China, US, and Germany. And depending on the day of the week, India. Those two apparently fight back and forth. But they're always top four, top five. And again, when you have one of the fifth largest economies in the world that is now tokenizing, get there in a second, they are tokenizing on Quant to an extent. But when they're starting to patent banking technology, this is a big freaking deal, okay? So to add to it, this patent also adds on top of already pre-existing Japanese IPs, such as chronological ordering across blockchains and single API calls that can trigger actions across multiple ledgers. So they've already been kind of investing into Quant, and this was another large step forward. And they're protecting the interoperability stack. Awesome. This is everything except for saying, hey guys, we're going to fucking use Quant. They're To me, they're already telling us. They just didn't directly say it yet. Now, let's expand upon this because the partnership that they had or they got recently with Dentsu Soken adds another freaking layer to this, and this is where I kind of get a little excited. So, what Dentsu Soken is, as a little bit of a recap, I've got another video. I go a little bit more detail into it if you guys are interested. But Dentsu is a core financial systems integrator in Japan. So what they work on is they do banking settlement systems. They help with treasury and liquidity infrastructure. They help with payment rails comparable with BOJnet, Japanese central bank, and legacy systems modernization for large institutions. Right, so this is the type of company that banks will hire when something is moving from concept to pilot to production, or if they're looking for what type of software or hardware should we use, what kind of upgrades do we need, and they kind of work as financial advisors to an extent to the banks. Now, hear me out here. So they just got a partnership with a technology company, Quant, that their main mission is trying to get banks to use their systems, and they partnered with Dentsu, which recommends banks to use certain systems. See how big of a freaking deal this is. And they're doing such a good job keeping it quiet. Or crypto is just so effing competitive, people only study the crypto they're interested in, so a lot of people haven't heard about it. That's very likely as well. But Quant and Dentsu Soken, they're collaborating on a couple different things. So now separate from the patent, they're working on tokenizing deposits. They're working on programmable settlement. They're working on conditional payments. They're working on liquidity and treasury automation. And then, of course, interoperability between tokenized rails and legacy banking systems, etc. And now, if we expand upon that, this gets a little off Japan for a second. We'll circle back. Is European Central Bank is now working on tokenizing collateral. Now, they did not officially name Quant for that one. I'm very confident they're using Quant, but they didn't directly say it. Right? They're just have announced that European Central Bank is using Quant for piloting everything, essentially. But they didn't state this one. But now you realize if they're doing tokenized collateral, you likely have the UK. We know we have Japan. And now we're just waiting for time to roll out. Right? When CBDCs and tokenized deposits are sent across different countries and we get the cross-border payments, which is going to be happening soon. Right? CBDCs 2028, 2030, but they might be getting everything else like tokenized bonds and all this much sooner. And everything is setting up for Quant to be right in the lead with everything else. And this is just awesome news. Right? So in enterprise timelines, this suggests that when we have things like this patent put together, as well as the Dentsu Soken deal, right? This helps suggest that these tracks are already running in parallel, right? I mean, this is not new to the back end. They've been planning this shit for a while, and I'm expecting more and more news to come out. Like, even though it's a bearish market right now, banks have been talking, companies are making their moves. Just like right now is, not financial advice, the best time to buy crypto because everything is heavily effing discounted, there's almost no interest. We make money now by putting in the work and buying things now. It looks like we make the money later when all prices go up. The large crypto companies, Quant, and I can promise you other ones, Hbar, I know they've been doing a lot, XRP, Link, they're all doing a lot of work right now too. And they'll talk about it a little bit, but they're going to time their news for when big things happen. And again, none of this is random. This has been in the process for a while. They're just now deciding to tell us. And I can't wait for more news. Right? But there's been legal, technical, and commercial pieces that have been being aligned for a while. Hence, legislation and regulation. We're so tied into learning about it so we can try to figure out what's happening in the background. Keep an eye on banks and countries of what they're saying about their future of finance. You'll pick up a lot from it. Right? So what we're kind of expecting right now, what's the next likely sequence of things, right, is we already know Quant's working on this, but finalizing multi-DLT token logic. Get the Fusion mainnet going. We already have a couple of likely players in the national space of using it. Great. Japanese patent's going to be granted. Legal risk is completely removed from this. And then we're just waiting for the partnerships to get announced. right? In terms of banks and fintech companies and things like that. So they already have a plan. They're already working the plan. They're just now deciding to start to tell us what it is, and it's awesome. Now, when my mind started sitting there at night, chilling out, thinking, what else could this do? I'm seeing the potential soon for this partnership between the patent banks and what's the future going to happen with Quant. This opens the door for things like repo markets to hop in on this, right? Securities and financing going through, intraday liquidity management, again, through a bunch of banks, and cross-system collateral mobility, back to what I was talking about with Europe, is have officially stated that they're going to be able to do. So this gets a lot bigger than just CBDCs and cross-border payments. And that's probably, I know I'm not usually the most excited or anything person that comes up on YouTube, but that's one of the biggest things that I can think of going on right now is I used to always press CBDCs and cross-border payments is what's going to make Quant really big. Tokenization is going to make Hbar really big. And then you look and realize, holy shit, they're going to be able to do so much more than this. And the fact that they are the middle layer, right? Quant connects everything. It is the router, it is the hub. It's able to scale and take on a lot more because, again, it's the hub. It uses other ledgers and everything as, I don't know, the arms and the appendages to do work. So they can do a lot more. And it's awesome kind of see what their people are deciding to make it use it for. So what's a realistic outlook? Not hype. At least try to keep it less hypey, and just probability in my mind. So high confidence outcomes right now, guys, right? Quants can become the settlement orchestration infrastructure for several countries. Several. Probably not the US, at least not anytime soon. Wants to try to make crypto great again over there, US crypto, okay, fine, cool. But collecting a lot of them. I think we're going to hear more and more partnerships that officially start picking up Quant or some very obvious breadcrumb trails like the patent and Dentsu Soken. I think we're going to hear more about Dentsu Soken, really. I think they're going to hear that they're going to be doing a little deeper of a connection with Quant. Again, this is speculative. Don't know anything yet, but I think we're going to get more details of what all they're trying to push and what other banks happen to pick up because of it. And yeah, waiting for Japan to start really experimenting with like production grade tokenized deposits, meaning pull it out of theory, right? Expecting to hear that they're actually making it happen now. So slightly less confident outcomes with things I think are still going to happen relatively soon is there's going to be a named Japanese bank or something similar in the next 6 to 12 months that comes out in states. There's a lot of large banks. I'm not going to pick one, but I think we're going to hear specifically a Japanese bank state something probably by the end of this year. I would expect the same thing for somewhere in Europe or the UK. They have to start naming companies soon, and I do think Quant's going to be named by the end of the year from one of them. And you better believe it, that's going to be a price mover. I don't care what the sentiment of the market is. If Bitcoin's doing well and the crypto market in general is going up, this will be a bigger boost. But even a bear market, anyone who holds 5 to 10 Quant or more going to be quite happy with the way things go. Now, one last, I think, understated thing is that let's assume Quant gets picked by Japan to be one of the major aspects of their financial infrastructure. That's only going to help more countries pick it up. Again, we already know several other countries are testing it and are looking at Quant as a possibility of one of the blockchain-like or blockchain technology to use. It just adds up on the resume, right? I mean, the fact that Japan came out to patent this, I mean, they've already played a little bit with it in pilots, but they know that Europe has been piloting this thing for years. Their message has already gotten out that it's working. Otherwise, it wouldn't be picked up on this type of front. So the more companies who pick up projects or pick up crypto companies, just a better chance that other ones are going to, especially when you have large economies that are doing it. So this is all just great stuff. Looking forward to seeing more that happens with Quant. So if you're still making it to this part of the video, thank you guys. Appreciate you guys hanging out here. Let me know down below, what do you expect next from Quant? What do you think is going to be the next major announcement? What countries do you think are going to hop in? I'm very curious. As always, I appreciate you guys so much for being here. I'll be here to talk to you guys again soon. Peace.